Hey, good morning. It's Dr. James. I do hope and pray this message finds you and your loved ones peaceful, thriving, and well. And this morning's message is a little unique. It's actually incredibly important, and it's something I'm asking myself more and more each and every day these days. It's whether or not where I'm putting my energy is big enough for me, or does it reduce me? Is where you put your energy every single day in terms of the challenges, the possibilities, the goals, the intentions, the channel in which you run your life in. Is it big enough for you, or does it reduce you? So here's a little story. I'm sure you've heard of this. It's a true story, and it really emphasizes about what the power of having something big enough for you to do with your life. So a long time ago in India, there was a little town, and in this little town, there was a mountain right next to it. And on the other side, it was the city. And basically what happened is that in this little town, when people got really sick, the chances of them making it over to the city where the hospital was were slim to none. If it was an acute situation, most people died on the journey because they had to actually go around the mountain. Well, there was a gentleman who was married to the love of his life, and she became very sick. And he had to take the journey around the mountain. And what he found out along the journey is that it was too far, it was too hard, it took too long, and he lost his wife. Well, what he did when he came back to the town to bury his wife, he decided he was going to change this for everybody else. He was not going to be witnessing anyone else lose a loved one because they couldn't get to the city to help them survive, to help them move forward in their life. So what did he do? He started literally hammering and chiseling away at that mountain. And he started hammering and chiseling away literally day after day after day. It became his life's work. Many people ridiculed him. Many people made fun of him. He spent over 50 years working on moving that mountain. And you know what? Today, there is a road that goes right through that mountain. It goes right from that little town to that city. So anyone who needs to get to that city quickly and efficiently to get to a hospital, they can get there now. Anybody who needs to get to that city for other things, they can get there now. The gentleman died in the midst of doing this, but many people joined him as he was making his way. He had forged such a groove, such a tunnel, such an imprint into that mountain with his dedication to doing something that was big enough for him. So I hear that, I read that, and I thought to myself, where do I put my energy today? And is it worthy of my energy? Is it big enough? Does it make me feel alive? Does it make me feel in that sense of good type of frightened, like, oh my goodness, how dare I take on something like that? How dare I pursue something that big? Well, you know what? How dare we not? I think a lot of us today are really looking at the world. We're looking at racism. We're looking at the situation with COVID-19. We're looking at politics. We're looking at society as a whole, and we're saying, wow, that is a big problem. There are a lot of problems in society today. There's a lot of problems in the world today between climate and racism and marginalization of different colors and different orientations. And all the stuff that's going on is really big. So is it big enough, or is it too big? I think it's big enough. And rather than thinking about like, how do I take on all of this? What if you and I decided to pick our space, pick that mountain, pick that space in the mountain and start chipping away at it? You chip away at it with love. You chip away at it with kindness. You chip away at it with courage. You chip away with it with standing for your truth. You chip away at it by not being good and not standing in conformity thinking, but actually standing in your truth and stepping outside of conformity thinking, because the only way that we chip at and eventually remove those mountains, that big enoughness, is by standing for something bigger than us. This is an incredibly important time for you and I to consider how big we want our life's mission to be. And when you look outside and you really examine what's happening in the world, I think we will find, oh yeah, it's big enough. But whether or not we are big enough to work towards it, to work after it, to chip away day after day at bringing more love, more light, more joy, more compassion into this world. Because, someday we will look back at our life and we'll see the groove. We'll see the groove that we actually created in our life. It'll either be a groove that brought us to something greater, or it'll be a rut that we got stuck in and never did what we came here to do. You are blessed with genius. You are blessed with something so much greater than you can ever imagine. But you have to give yourself permission to get up each and every day and dedicate yourself to something big enough that makes you rise into a uncommonness that is truly your nature, your true nature. With love, with blessings, go out there and live and love big. Peace and love. Bye for now.